I listened to the RTE debate on the Ireland South constituency yesterday, and when tells me sharing the candidates were Billy Kelleher of Fianna Fáil, John Mullins Fine Gael, Michael McNamara, Independent, Cian Prindeville, People for Profit, and Susan Doyle of the Social Democrats. I could not help but notice the extraordinary similarity in policies between all of them. These are the parties of the establishment. They're going to bring no change whatsoever to our country. They will not deal with the immigration issue. And I believe that from what I heard from all of them, they haven't a clue how to deal with the Ukrainian war situation. I want to explain two issues that all of them seemed in agreement with. When it came to the matter of immigration, not one of them was prepared to say that we must opt out of all European Union immigration policy. We have that right of opt-out under the Lisbon Treaty, and none of these TDs were prepared to, or one of these candidates rather, were prepared to say that that's what we should do. They were obfuscating about the matter of the UN Migration Pact. They all spoke of the need to increase the resources that were dedicated to state actors in terms of conducting hearings and conducting deportations. How long would it take for Ireland to ramp up to that? We know how ineffective our state can be, and we know that we simply create more and more bureaucracy whenever we ramp up more state power. What we need to do is close our borders, and we can do that. We can opt out of Europe's international protection regime tomorrow morning if we want, and we can, as a sovereign state, decide to pull out of the asylum protocol, which dates back to 1951 and which we have been saying for years is no longer fit for purpose. I note that Michael McDowell, Senior Counsel, has now agreed with us and said that perhaps this protocol is no longer fit for purpose and we should re-examine it. The Irish Freedom Party has been saying this for years, and all we get in response for telling people the truth is being called fascist and being called far-right and being called extremist. The other point on which they all seem to be in agreement was that it would be appropriate for the European Union and the European banking system to seize Russia's sovereign assets in order to pay for the Ukrainian war. Now, if Europe decides to do that, if the European Union decides to do that, it will lead to a flight of capital from the European banking system. Nobody will trust that their money will be safe if the sovereign assets of another country are snaffled by the European banking system. I would remind people, and it's a pity I wasn't there to say it to the candidates yesterday, that in 1941, when bombs were falling on London, the German government had gold reserves in the Bank of England, in the vaults of the Bank of England. And they looked for payments, and the Bank of England paid up, and the government didn't stop them, because there's one thing you do not do if you want to maintain any kind of a coherent banking system, and that is steal the sovereign assets of another country. You just can't do it no matter what the circumstances are. If the European Union goes along with that, it will lead to a flight of capital from the European Union. I sometimes wonder, does the European establishment and do my fellow candidates have any realization of just how flimsy the entire European project is and the danger they create in talking such nonsense about completely undermining the value of the European currency? Perhaps that's what they want to do. Perhaps they genuinely want to destroy the value of the European currency, and they want to destroy the wealth that we've all built up. Perhaps that's their aim. I don't know. Billy Kelleher is a particularly dangerous individual. He keeps talking about the need for us to fund the Ukrainian war. He asked the question, well, who's going to fund the Ukrainian war? It's of no interest to Ireland who funds the Ukrainian war. This is not our war. We should have no hand, act, or part in it. Our role as a neutral country must be to act as a peacemaker between the Russians and the Ukrainians, and to bring them to their senses and to settle this matter with proper negotiations. That's what we should be doing instead of following the ridiculous lead of Ursula von der Leyen. If we keep following what these people are doing, we will end up in the Third World War. This is Michael Leahy, Chairman of the Irish Freedom Party, your candidate for Ireland South. I'm annoyed at the way we have been excluded from these debates, by the way. We would have had something to say. What you listened to yesterday was more of the same. Every single one of those candidates is an establishment candidate. They will affect no change on the matter of immigration. And if we're not careful, they'll drag us into a European war. I'm asking for your #1 vote on June the 7th from Michael Leahy of the Irish Freedom Party in Ireland South.